Hi, this is Dee at Aloha, Astro. I hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day weekend. It's cold and rainy where I am, so it doesn't feel quite summery yet. Let's take a look at this new moon in Gemini, which is occurring at approximately 11:03 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. So we're going to feel that new moon carry over into tomorrow, into Tuesday. The new moon in Gemini, Monday, May 26th and Tuesday, May 27th, awakens your imagination and activates the flow of creative and original ideas, some of which may hold the promise of future importance and success if you nurture them with passion, faith, and determination. As the moon conjunct both the Sun and Mercury in a mutable Mercury-ruled air sign, forms a minor grand trine aspect pattern with Saturn conjunct Neptune, both in Aries, and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. The theme of new beginnings at this Gemini new moon is made more materially and spiritually significant by the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in Aries, the cardinal fire sign that boldly initiates things and proclaims, "I am," while Pluto in Aquarius holds dormant or suppressed genius and magnetism that you can tap into when you feel ready to present your ideas to the world or follow through on plans for the future. Mars in Leo trine to Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries gives you the energy and courage to pursue who or what you desire, but Jupiter in Gemini sextile to Venus and Chiron, while squaring Saturn and Neptune, presents you with the choice of seeing the glass half full or half empty. Mars square to Uranus in Taurus and Pluto square to Venus and Chiron can trigger fear of the future or the unknown, but the favorable aspects can flip those fears into motivation to create a future reality that pleases you, rather than wait for or continue to put up with what you don't like. You may feel like a real newbie in whatever area of life this lunation highlights in your chart, but you will catch on quickly and discover that stagnation is no longer comfortable now that new people and opportunities are popping up unexpectedly. Smile, socialize, communicate, and wonder, what if? So there's a lot of like inception. That's the way things feel. Conception, inception. Maybe it would be a good time if you were actually attempting to conceive a child. One of the things that Gemini rules is that childlike mind or imagination, initiating thoughts, learning new things as if you are innocent and naive and know nothing. Uh, it is also a sign of your neighborhood, community, siblings, people you treat like brothers and sisters. It's your immediate environment on a social level and in terms of casual acquaintances and communication, those people that you maybe simply spontaneously meet because they go to the same grocery store that you do, or you see them all the time at school, or when you walk your dog at the park. So open up to the new people that come your way within your immediate environment, or perhaps go out into your local community and become more active in the events that are occurring there if you would like to maximize the effect of this new moon in Gemini. Getting to know new people, that's very, very Gemini. Trying out new things you've never done before, learning a little bit about them. It doesn't mean you have to do it forever, but if you're curious about something, go take a class, expand your mind, and follow through on your curiosity. Let's take a look at the chart for this lunation, and we can see here the moon and sun at 6 degrees 6 minutes. Nearby we have Mercury at 2 minutes 21 degrees, and the planet Uranus is in Taurus, but it's right nearby, and it is technically conjunct this group of the moon, the sun, and Mercury. I feel that that brings a little bit of that the surprise or the unpredictability is going to come through either something very nature-based because of the Taurus energy, that earth energy, or material, that you may actually manifest more money or manifest an opportunity or a job. So if you are thinking of what you would like to have, because Taurus says I have, then imagine it, write it down. There is power in written affirmations. Write it as if you have already received it. And you may find that that's a technique that, if you've never done it before, particularly, I love trying new manifesting things because very often there's that beginner's luck. It hasn't failed you yet. You don't know, is it going to work or not? But you're like, I'm game. Why not? Let's try this. And sometimes it works. This is the minor grand trine with Pluto retrograde. Retrograde planets will draw our attention more, where we may have to deal with it and pay attention to it. And as a whole, society is adjusting to Pluto now moving forward, or it's retrograde right now, but moving in Aquarius rather than hanging out there in Capricorn, where we're letting go of Capricorn stuff. This is about the organizing of society as a whole and focusing more on humanity and everybody's individuality being utilized and acknowledged in making up the collective or the group. So, freedom, the future, technology, and humanity. It's a fixed sign, which is organization, skill. And Aquarius is looking toward the future. Pluto is empowerment or disempowerment for individuals as well as for the group consciousness going on. Because Moon, Sun, and Mercury are personal planets and they are interacting favorably with Pluto, this seems to me as if you don't know the full potential yet of what something could be. Well, how are you going to get there? How are you going to find out? By believing, Neptune, and actually persisting and being determined, committing, Saturn. And they are loosely conjunct the North Node in Pisces. That does bring in the elements of water, mutable water, and also that's where we get most of the square, technically, with Jupiter in Gemini. It's kind of like, what's the quote, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, that's what you get, or something like that. And that is true. The square is really talking about how you choose to think and whether it's going to lean more into the positivity and optimism and growth, or stagnation, doubt. No, I can never have that. That will never happen. Keep in mind that Mars and Venus in that trine with Chiron is telling you that you have talent and you have courage and you can do this. You've got, as long as you have the desire, you have what it takes to go after it. And if you do follow through on that trine, as well as this minor grand trine and the sextile, that will help you, rather than being stalled or stuck in some way by any of the fears that the square between Mars and Uranus and Pluto and Venus and Jupiter and Saturn, Neptune, North Node could bring up. This is a really big, swift kick in the pants, and it's kind of saying too that the future comes whether you want it to or not. It can't be stopped. It will come. And how you choose to perceive of it, and the actions, the choices, the decisions, your attitude toward it will have an effect on what you see come into being in your immediate future. discernment. With Pisces energy, we are literally in the sea of infinite possibilities. Anything is possible. And Virgo, opposite, seeks to observe, discern, sort, and organize and prioritize, and then eliminate what is not needed or necessary and utilize what is left. And with the lunar nodes, which are always going to be opposite each other, finding the balance between those two things, between the path of least resistance or the default programming of the South Node versus the goals or the lessons and the bigger task of the North Node, finding the happy medium of the two. And of course, any opposing signs do have the other sign within it, just to a much lesser degree. And we always learn something from our opposing sun sign or opposing Mercury or Venus or whatever. We very often do attract the opposing sign to us when we look at the synastry charts between us and other people. Oppositions, they occur frequently to teach us something about ourselves and how we can integrate more of that energy within us to bring us into balance. But overall, this is a very nice lunation with the potential for opportunities, for speaking something into being because you've put your feelings and your thoughts and your beliefs into it. So now you are ready to manifest and receive. Trying out new things and then seeing if they're going to stick or not. And taking trips to places. Most often it's short trips, little breaks, going off to new things within your neighborhood or community. Let me just grab a little bit of water here. Okay, so the Sabian symbol. I was very bummed when I clicked on the link for Mindfire. It was broken a couple of minutes ago. It's there. Okay. I looked here about an hour or two ago, and the page was not loading, and now we have it loading. Very nice. So we round up to 7 degrees of Gemini, a well with bucket and rope under the shade of majestic trees. Keynote, man's primordial faith in the hidden sustaining power of life. Well, we've got that Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries. I would say that's primordial faith. And hidden sustaining power of life, that feels very Plutonian to me. In contrast with the ambitious drive of modern man for power and wealth, we now have the image of the eternal search for that which is at the root of all living processes, i.e., water. That's interesting. This search also demands some effort, raising the water-filled bucket, but it is a simple natural effort under the shade of trees which attest to the presence of the life-giving fluid. That's true, those trees would not have reached that maturity and growth without the water. This presence depends on the cooperation of sky, rain, and earth, the geological formation able to hold the water, and man must develop the intuitive sense which enables him to feel this presence and to make it effectual. In his daily life, he must sense the hidden reality which preserves, for the use of all living organisms, this gift of the sky, the bounteous rain. At this second stage of the 14th fivefold sequence of symbols, the power of the collective and biospiritual energies which sustain all earth-rooted cultures is stressed, in contrast to whatever the technological mind of man can make available to increase his personal comfort and mastery over matter. The symbol implies a fundamental trust in and cooperation with life. Now, the mutable energy definitely always speaks about cooperation. It is the interconnectedness of things and the ways and means. And it is flexible and adaptable for good reason. The cardinal signs are ordinal, cardinal. They give demands and decrees and direct and have need to be right. And the fixed signs do the work and follow through and like to control and organize and take things from start to finish. And the mutable signs are the go-betweens, the facilitators, networkers, ways and means committee that can hold on to potentially more than one idea at a time, compared to the urge to be right of the cardinal signs and that need to control, which is the fixed signs, um, the stubbornness, and it's got to be this way. But mutable flexes and adapts. And we do have mutable water right now through the North Node in Pisces, and that can think of things like miracles or other planes of existence or intervention from other beings. And then we've got that mutable air that can look at multiple options and be curious enough to seek and be open-minded enough to experiment and see and find out. Anyway, that's the Sabian symbol. It does seem like it's referring very much to the idea of source. And when I went and looked for the picture, I did have this idea of like an infant, the beginning of something new, not just because it's a new moon, but because of those very early degrees of Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and Aries being the beginning of the 12 signs of the zodiac as well. It just has this feeling of that moment of birth, that new beginning, and all the potential and power within something new that we really cannot fully see yet. That we must pay attention to it and put our energy in to have influence, to tend something and make it grow along those lines of intention. And definitely the chart is pointing to, at this new moon, maintaining positive intention. And when the shadow stuff and the squares come up, to see them for what they are and turn them into the motivation, the determination, the I'll show you attitude. And very often children themselves have that. You tell them, no, you can't do that. And they're, yes, I can. And off they go and do it. So that Gemini moon influence might give you that childlike naivety and curiosity, as well as some of that uppityness that just says, well, yes, I can. Just watch me. I'm going to go do it. And a little bit of that impish Loki trickster energy is here at this new moon as well. Make use of it, enjoy it, see what it brings into your life. Some of those new ideas or people could become important in your future. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.